I can't hold her, Captain. I don't have the power. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel Average Cox Gaming. We're back on this bridge in Ragnarok and we are testing out Velos. As you know, I love to test things out when there's rumors going around in Ark Survival Evolved, and one of them is about how to level Velonasaurs. People say you should only level 500 melee in Velonasaurs if they are on turret mode, others don't, and so we're going to test for sure to see how you should level them if they're on turret mode. Now, as you can see, this is a level 2. It's got the base melee of 175, and in turret mode on aggressive, it's hitting for 2s and 3s, and then when you're riding it, it's hitting for 2s and 3s as well. So obviously that's the base melee, that's our baseline. And so now we can start progressively going up in the Velonasaurs that have more melee to see if they actually hit harder when they're on turret mode. Okay, and here's one with 200 and some odd melee, and it's hitting for 7 on the body, 16 on the head, 7 on the body because Stegos take reduced projectile damage on the body. So now we're going to go ahead and put it in turret mode on aggressive. And there it goes. So it's still hitting for 3s, 2s and 3s on the body, even though it has, well, 300 melee, excuse me. So it's hitting for the base amount of melee, the same amount as the one with 175, and it's got 300 melee. So the next one we're going to test has 500 melee. But as you can see so far, just off of the first two, we noticed that melee did not affect the amount of damage that it did when it was on turret mode, only when you're on the back riding it and shooting it. So this one has 500 melee, well, 507 to be exact. And this is where people say you should level the ones that are in turret mode. As you can see, much more damage when actually riding it, 34 headshots. Let's put it on turret mode and see what happens. And so here we go, going to be 2s and 3s. And so as we can see with the 3 different Velos with 3 different sets of melee, that when they are on turret mode, their damage, their melee, does not affect the amount of damage that they do to creatures when they're on aggressive. And so here's one with, like, I think it said 1200 melee. Just as a test, you can get this much melee in official. And if someone's like really trying to ride one, then that's how high the melee will be. This one will probably shred if you're riding it. But as you can guess, it is going to do exactly that low amount of damage of 2 and 3. And we're getting 5s there because of where it's hitting on the body. So I did move the Velo so that we have a baseline of where exactly it's hitting. And once we move it to hit where the other ones were actually hitting, then it's doing the same amount, and that's our test line. So as you can see, for the purposes of turret mode only, melee does not affect Velos at all in that regards. So yeah, if you're riding it, melee is gonna drastically increase your damage that you're doing if you're riding it and shooting the spindles. But if it's in turret mode only, then the melee does not affect it at all. And part of the reason this all popped up is because about a month ago I saw like a huge spike in people using Velos in PvP. Like, this is the meta, and I was like, why are people using Velos in PvP? They're super squishy, they're slow, like they can get picked by almost anything, and people are just shredding with these Velos when they're riding them. And so yeah, I wanted to do some tests, and there you have it. There's the tests. You can't go wrong with actual data. So again, if you're gonna ride on the back, yes, melee. But if you're only ever gonna use the Velo for turret mode, then I would say level health and stamina only. Health and stamina only, because they do use stamina in turret mode even if they're not mounted. Just a heads up. Another thing I wanted to mention. While the damage was very, very low for the turret mode, remember there is some crowd control properties to it. These Velos will ground flyers. It's honestly, in my opinion, a bit of a janky mechanic. It doesn't always work, but when it does work and when they do get grounded, if they keep getting shot, it's really hard for the flyer to take back off. I guess, and you know, with Quetzal bombs, that would be really useful. This is kind of a janky Quetzal build, so honestly, you could build something way better for Quetzal bombing, but I just used it as an example that even though most of the shots are hitting the structures, if a couple of the shots actually hit the Quetzal and it grounds them, it can, you know, make it really difficult to Quetz bomb. Plus, if you have enough of these Velos shooting on top of regular turrets, let's be honest, you could potentially make someone's game crash. I mean, that's not the way that you want to be known, but at the same time, with the amount that people cheat in this game, sometimes you gotta fight fire with fire. And that's it, folks. So please like, subscribe, and until next time, thanks for watching.